on mute or something that won't disturb us during this meeting. I would ask that the members to self-introduce themselves, starting with George.
George Lycan, South Asheville.
David Summey, South Asheville.
Peggy Mann, Limestone.
I'm Jim Lesko. I should have announced that right up front. I'll be chairing this meeting.
Jim Guido, Beaver Dam.
Lisa Stevens, South Asheville.
Oh, a couple of details. There will be a sign-up sheet, and I think you're aware of that if you want to speak. And when it comes to the speaking part, don't be redundant. We're reasonably accusative up here, and we'll catch it the first time. Don't repeat. And you'll want to get out here early, too. So we want to hear what you have to say, because we believe in the free and open speech and want to hear it, but we don't need to hear it 6 times. We have only 6 members today. There are 7 members on this board. We plan ahead and usually have an extra member, but we've had 2 cases of illness this morning. What that means, if you're coming before this board, you have to have a 4/5 majority. So you have to get all 6 votes. Ordinarily, there are 7 members, and there can be one that's declined in the decision, whichever way it goes. But today, all 6 votes have to go. So I hope everybody understands that. That's a little bit of constraint. You have that option whether to present or not, if you're looking at those odds. I'd like for you to limit the time you speak. I don't want to put minutes on it, but I will ask you to refrain if you go on a bit. We deal with the ordinance here. We don't deal with other things outside of that. If you're coming and you're saying, well, it's the traffic over, that's out of our purview. So I would ask that you would keep that in mind also.
Okay.
So, Jillian, are we ready with the first?
We still have approval of minutes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I overlooked that. You all have received a copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections?
No.
Hearing that there are no corrections to the minute, they shall stand as submitted. Now, if you're going to be speaking today, you will have to be sworn in. So if you will come forward at this time and put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, we will administer the oath.
And just do like electricity, because you can't
Yeah,
all get your hands on the
shoulder,
Bibles.
yeah,
Just touch someone's shoulder and raise your hand.
Shoulder. Raise your hand.
There you go. Just
now,
like a glee club.
touch the other person next to you.
Yeah. There you go. Progress.
Okay,
energy.
is everyone there? Okay, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. All right.
You may be
Everyone's
seated.
lips moved. Good.
All right, now, Jillian, you're up.
Okay, the first application is Asheville Cottages. Marshall Manch of Manch Properties has applied for a conditional use permit to site a 31-unit vacation rental complex on tax lot pin 9626435550, which is at 29 Asheville Cottage Lane. The property is already developed with 6 vacation rental duplexes that were approved by the board under the prior zoning ordinance in January 2009. The property is zoned R3 and would therefore require a conditional use permit for a planned unit development. They are asking for additional 25 units to bring the total on the property to 31. 2 additional duplexes are shown on the plan, with the remaining proposed structures being single units.
Okay.
They are proposing shared well and septic, but have not had the systems approved by environmental health, are in the process of revising their stormwater management plans per request from the stormwater administrator, have not submitted their erosion control plans yet, and the plans have been approved by the fire marshal.
And there's no variances being asked for.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. Who's going to be presenting?
I guess both of us will.
Okay, what are your names?
I'm John Kennard with Brooks Engineering.
And I'm Marshall Manch, I own the property.
All right. Tell us why you want to do this.
What we've got now is 14 acres, and we've got 6 vacation rental cottages on there presently. There are 3 duplex units. They're luxury vacation rental cottages, and it's in a wooded setting. What we want to do is just expand. Most of what we'll do is single units now, 2-bedroom, 2-bath units that are standalone, not the duplex style, still keeping with the environment as far as the look and high-quality vacation rentals.
All right. You understand, as Jillian said, you haven't got some of your pre-planning okays yet? That all has to be in place?
Yes, we're in the process of having the septic and wells approved and designed currently. As she mentioned, the stormwater plans are in, and we have received the first round of comments and are resubmitting those currently. And we understand from there that we will need to get the erosion control permits prior to construction.
George?
2 questions. Shared well, how many wells do you plan?
We have 3 shown, and there actually is one existing that can serve, I believe it was 8 units, and then we have 2 more located, but not drilled.
And the phrase shared well and septic, will you share septic?
Yes.
I see you have a field. How is that ratio compared to if you had a single-family house here, you had well and septic, and that square footage, what am I seeing in a drain field area of single versus your group drain field?
Right. The ratio of the area is approximately the same. However, these are only 2 bedrooms, so that makes it smaller than, say, a 4 or 3-bedroom house would be. But the ratio per bedroom to area of drain field is the same as a standard house would be.
In the industry profile of vacation rentals, how does the number of people per bedroom compare to people per bedroom of single residence?
It's about half.
It's not more, well, I would have thought it'd be more so. You're saying it's less than.
Maybe I didn't understand the question, but
In other words, the county, in their regulations, have a ratio of a 2-bedroom house. There's a maximum number of people that can live in that house. I can remember it's like 5 or 6 or something. If you had a vacation rental, the 2 bedrooms, would the industry profile say that there would be more people than in a regular home?
no less, because we're occupied probably half the year. If you
You mean over a yearly load?
Over a
other
year,
than you have
that's
less.
right, yeah.
Okay, all right. But maybe more on a single day of your occupancy.
Exactly, right. However, in our cottages, we don't allow for more than 4 people in the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, so,
Maximum.
max, yeah, so it wouldn't, and the duplex units we have now are 1-bedroom, and so it's limited to how many people we can bring in anymore.
Well, I like the concept, and it's a nice layout, but the only thing is that I've done a lot of work on projects that had septic, and if you lose your primary septic, you need to have a repair, and I don't know exactly, do you have a repair in? I don't see it. But
Yes, that's required as part of the permit.
Yeah.
There will be repair areas.
Where would that be? Is it adjacent to the existing deck?
Yeah, that's typically how we do it.
We'll say that even though these are used far less than a regular house is used, the county doesn't allow us to reduce the size of our field at all. We are supplied from.
Morris Road, I see it's gravel road. How big a road is that?
It's both gravel and asphalt, just a last maybe 100 yards is a gravel road.
Is it like an 18-foot road, or is it 10-foot?
I don't believe it's quite 18 feet, but it's certainly bigger than.
It's two cars. Two cars can pass.
Yes, and as we mentioned, the fire department has driven out there and have approved both Morris Road as it is and the layout that we proposed.
Okay.
You've got an office on site, is the part of the business plan?
Eventually, yes, that's correct. Building number 1 will be the office.
What buildings do you have?
Right now, in the top corner, numbers 3 through 8 is what is existing.
Okay.
Three through 8 are being rented and operated right now.
That's correct.
All right. Any other questions from up here?
What kind of feedback did we get from adjacent?
We haven't had any comments regarding this proposal.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak either for or against this project? Yeah, Michael?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me ask you something.
Yes.
You signed the application, and I just want to make sure for the record that the information contained on your application is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge.
Yeah, you both agree to that?
Yes.
All right, if there's no one else needing to speak, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time. You have an action?
Mr. Chair, based upon the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: the petitioner's application, the submitted development plans, the GIS maps, the finding of fact worksheet, and the question and answer session, I move that this board adopt the following findings of fact, numbers 1 through 5. And item 6A, this application does meet the requirements for granting a conditional use permit or a PUD for the following reasons: A through
B.
Victor.
Yeah. Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the findings as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the minutes show that it's unanimous decision. And now we need another motion to accept the proposal.
Do we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we do,
I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal
as presented.
as presented for our county record.
All right, is there
I'll
a
second
second?
it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the proposal as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Again, let the minutes show that there's a unanimous vote to support the project. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Yates.
Michael. The flow then is the motion to adopt the findings of fact always pairs with 6A or 6B.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's just the numbering for today, George.
Well, they either does meet
Does or
does
does,
not meet.
yeah.
I think the important point to remember is if the board or any member of the board is inclined to deny a request, you need to state specifically what reasons. I mean, we offer some suggestions, but anything you feel is relevant, either for or against at any time.
Okay.
Okay, but the flow that we're discussing, it is, as it's shown here, a motion to adopt, the findings of fact are whatever they are, and then the 6A or 6B would apply, or
Yes,
it does or does not apply.
Correct.
Then when that is done by either, however we do it, then there must be then an additional motion to accept the project as filed, or deny whatever, the way the vote went.
That's fine. That's the way we've always done it before.
Yeah.
Okay.
That works and makes it patently clear. All right.
The next application is Jonathan L. Yates. He has applied in the name of American Towers Incorporated for a conditional use permit to site a 150-foot tower in the R3 zoning district on tax lot pin 9664-412784 at 678 Mills Gap Road. Additionally, he has applied for a variance from the height requirements of the zoning ordinance for the 150-foot tower. The height limitation in the R3 zoning district is 35 feet. The site would require a wireless communications facility permit. The applicant has submitted the required information for the application, but has not paid the required fee yet, as they are waiting for the outcome of today's meeting. They have not applied for a stormwater and erosion control permit. They would not be required to get either of those if the grading for the access road and for the site itself is less than an acre. The fire marshal has reviewed the plans and has no concerns. There's floodplain on the property. A flood permit may be required for the access road if any construction occurs in the floodplain, and that's just at the very bottom of the site where the access road would go, not where the tower is. And just to let the board know, we have received 13 emails in opposition of the proposed conditional use permit.
Okay. Who will be presenting for the?
I am Tom Johnson. I'm an attorney with the firm of Mex and Pruitt, the same firm that Mr. Yates is a member of, and I'm here to make the presentation. As was so aptly pointed out by the chair before the meeting started, obviously we only have 6 members present and a full board is 7. In light of the importance of this matter, I'd like to request a continuance for that reason, to have a full board present, because I think that's fair to everybody. But the other part of that is I would like to have an opportunity, given the number of people that have expressed an interest, to have an opportunity to have a community meeting with those that are affected and to talk with them about the issues and hopefully narrow it down before it comes back to this board. And we do that on many occasions, especially when there is it's an area of concern, which obviously this one is. So I would request a continuance. I did talk to the county attorney before the meeting so that we won't have to re-advertise. I'd like to open the meeting and then continue it, or open the hearing and continue it to a date certain, which we can do so that we don't have to re-advertise. And the members of the public that are here, I would like to be able to get names and addresses so that I can make contact. I don't know the best way to do that, because I know we've got a list of names and not addresses, but I'd like to do that as well.
Michael, if we do grant the continuance, would we take the whole process, or can we do part of the process and hear the people are here after they've come out?
Mr. Chairman, I think what we do at this point is we would open the hearing. I think it would be fair and important for you first to indicate which way you were leaning. If you're leaning toward granting the continuance, then I think it would be important to allow anyone here today to go ahead and allot them 3 minutes each to speak for or against the matter, since they are here and may not be able to show up next time. But that would get the ball rolling. And if Mr. Johnson wanted to present anything here, but the matter in the hearing and actual decision making, that would be continued to the next date and time specific, and that would avoid the necessity for re-advertising and noticing, et cetera. And that would be for April 13th.
Jim.
Also,
Jim, I think a slightly different approach. I think that if we have, I do agree that we have had excellent results with exactly what you're proposing with
Right.
a community meeting. It's worked very, very well on a ton of projects that have come to us that are controversial. I think we would waste our time and we would get a wrong slant. We'd have duplication. If we're doing a continuance, let's do a cut and dried regulation continuance and get the the group that's here that wants to be involved, hook up with this gentleman here and do your meeting. It could be even this afternoon, and it could be follow-on meetings, but that procedure is very effective. And we've done that before, and we've done it a lot.
And let me do a variation of what you're saying. And that would be the possibility of if someone is totally convinced that they would not have an opportunity to come a second time, then I think I understand they could have more information, but they would, if they have an opportunity to speak today for a few minutes. But I think if they can wait to the next meeting, it'd be a lot better. And the other thing is, I think we should have something, if someone speaks today, they wouldn't speak a second time. So that they could choose, if they feel that they have no other opportunity to speak, they could take the form today. But if, we would counsel that they would wait if they possibly could, so they'd have all the information at the disposal, so their testimony or their presentation would be more informed. But I think if they do feel that they have no opportunity other than today to speak, then maybe they should be given 3 minutes.
If I may, my concern in allowing anyone to speak today, and I'm not opposed, I don't want to squelch anybody and their opportunity to be heard, don't get me wrong, but we don't know the composition of the board on April 13th, and so there'll be some members that may be present then. There will certainly be one more member, I hope.
Right.
But there could be other members that can't come and others that are in substitute, and they will not have heard it. So I would like for the board that makes the decision, and I think under, for proper due process, the board that makes the decision needs to hear the full presentation. We may be able to narrow it down and have representatives of the community presenting their position if we have the community meeting. And the other thing I would offer in terms of the community meeting, which I think could be very helpful, your meetings are at noon. I would offer as a community meeting for the convenience of the public to have it in the afternoon or evening so that we would have an opportunity for more participation. The other thing that I would like to do, in talking to some of the individuals here today, I don't have a representative from AT&T here with me today, but I would like to have that person present because I think there have been some concerns with respect to points of view with AT&T that we need to have that person present. So I'd love to do it this afternoon. I'm up here from Raleigh, so I'd certainly like to try to do that. But I'd rather do it a little more well-planned and have ample individuals on our side who can answer all of the questions. And we may be able to, come up with some compromise and adjust what we're proposing or not. I don't know, but I want to explore all of those options before we bring it back to this board, because as Mr. Lycan mentioned, that's often a very effective procedure. I've been an elected official before, and I appreciate your position and the fact that helps a whole lot.
Well, first of all, we're not elected, we're appointed.
Well, I've had to serve as a decision maker.
Let the record show. Well, I've heard these divergent arguments here, and here's what I'm going to propose. That because these folks have come out today, and if you want to speak, we're going to hear that today, because they might not be able to appear the next time, as what you were saying. And we will continue the meeting till April 13th, but we will hear those that want to speak today. And then proceed from that point, because there will be a transcript of the meeting. So the board members will know, even if there's different heads up here in the next time.
There's just one question. Is there a possibility, because again, there is a point about the information be done today and then kind of lost and that type of thing. Is there a way we could wait till after the meeting and have people speak with the camera and taped to have that information like they do for like city council meetings and that type of thing, so that their opinion is on record?
It's all recorded. Everybody speaks.
What I mean is, in that sense, then, if there are different board members and that type of thing, that could be shown and presented.
It's being taped as we speak.
You know what I'm saying is that we could do it now with everyone and then duplicate it, or we could have afterwards those people just speak and put on camera, and then that could be played at the meeting when the people who need to hear it are sitting here, rather than duplicating it twice, where some of us hear it once and some of us hear it a second time.
But Mr. Johnson makes a good point. He and I make the same point. We want to avoid any problems with the due process here.
Right.
And in one way to do that, if anybody has any public comment, we won't swear them in, for instance. If they just have some comments that they want to just allow those people to have their public comments. We are taking minutes, and that will be made apparent.
Okay.
And we'll just have to
Okay, we've heard all the arguments, let's proceed.
Okay, one point I wanted to make just real quickly. What we come up with after a community meeting may be different
Okay.
than what's proposed, so I just want the public to know that it may not be set in stone, it may be different, so comments they make today are based upon a plan they've seen today, which may be different. So I just make that for the sake of the public and their comments. But again, I don't want to stand in the way of anyone that wants to make a comment and may not be able to be here next time. I understand
Okay.
that.
We understand.
And so that we can make this, so that people can make the decision if they speak now, we say what date and what time are we saying that the next meeting is?
I do think it'd be appropriate to have a motion and a second to continue the
Okay.
hearing this matter till April 13th at 12 noon.
12 noon, okay.
Okay. We should do that when we get to the point where all the people have presented, right?
No?
I mean, again, I mean.
Because if we continue from now, that shuts them off, right?
No.
At the board's discretion, you can allow public comment.
We can allow public
The
comment.
thing is that this should be full-on. This should be, you're going to end up with a complete review of the entire process in the meeting, in the community meetings. And what people say now will have a significant change from now until the next meeting.
Right.
There's really no reason for us to have a partial. There's just no reason for it.
I disagree with you, George. We're moving ahead.
But should we have this vote first, that we're going to continue it?
We can vote on the continuous.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Make that.
So I would, we'll get to public in a minute. I would move that we, the motion that was put forward, that we continue this specific item on April 13th at noon.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion to continue this meeting on April 13th at 12 noon in this room. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll meet again on April
One other
13th.
point, there are two applications, so we need the same motion and second and vote on the variance.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
And what's the second one?
Well,
It's the
second one-
variance and the height that we requested, and if
Well,
you
Right.
could just
we'll-
move to
let's-
continue that at the
Let's address
same
this
time.
one first, and then we'll open that one up, right?
You did address it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you say there's two petitions. Are we going to take those?
We're going to
and-
continue both.
Continue
Well,
both.
all
But we
right.
have to make a motion and a
Yeah,
second to
okay, we
continue both.
can do that.
So what's the second?
The second one is the request for variance for the height.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to continue on that
I'll second that.
to April 13th at noon.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to continue the second hearing for April 13th at 12 noon in this room. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Absolutely not. Spring break. Buncombe County spring break, no way. That's not fair. Should have been prepared to present today. We came down here today.
In fairness to the opposition.
And we could do May.
We could continue it for 2 months.
Then it would only be, the option would be April 13th or May.
2 months ago.
May.
Michael? I'm,
I don't think the board's made its motion in order. I mean, if you want to undo what you've just done, then the members who made the motion and second, each one could modify it to, you
May?
have two choices, proceed today or to continue until the May date.
till the
May.
May date. That's, would be my thinking, because that was just
Either
an
April or May.
oversight of the spring break.
What's
Right.
May
Because
11th?
Our primary purpose is to have people to have voice, citizens to speak up, so we know what you're thinking.
So May.
We're ready. We're going to hear you today. We're going to hear you.
We are prepared. We are here.
Okay.
But we do not want to present our case and then come back and have it piecemealed and added onto and cobbled together.
Okay.
So it's,
Today and whenever the next meeting might be.
When we have 6 members, we always have the option for people to ask for a continuance because there's only 6 members and it changes how the voting happens. So therefore, today wouldn't be an issue. Either we have to do it next month, or we could reopen it and make it into May. But it will not be happening today.
Can we respectfully ask that it be continued to May?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my, all right. Jim,
Okay, so you want to, I'll go back to my first one.
Recast your motion, same motion
I'll
that
amend my
What day in
original
May?
motion will be to a continuance on May 11th at noon. Anyone else want to second that?
Who's
I'll
second?
second.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion.
Just, were you the original second? Okay, just making sure.
It's the original second. We're just recasting the motion, same players. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none?
Okay.
All right, now, second one.
I'd like to change my original motion for the continuance on the hearing on the variance, that it be moved to May 11th, 2011 at noon.
I'll second.
Okay, you have a motion, and been seconded to recast the date to May 11th on the second part of that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That hearing will take place on May 11th at noon. All right, let's continue.
Enjoy your holidays.
Who's going to speak first?
So what do we have?
I do not agree with this.
All right, sure.
They're going to speak or not?
You have an opportunity to speak today.
No, speaking today will give them enough ammunition to fight us.
Yeah, that's your choice.
That's your choice. All right.
Okay.
But I want to make it clear, if anyone wants to speak today, take your choice.
Going once.
Okay. Bye.
Wow.
So the question is where I'm going to be in May.
I'm not going to be here. I can tell you. I'm not going to be here.
You know, I lucked out.
Yes,
I lucked
yes.
out.
Any-
I lucked
we will
out
hear
a
anyone
couple
who
years
wants to
ago
speak
when they
today.
did these
Put their time limit.
That
because I
addresses the
had
issue of
had a
people
casual
who can't be
conversation with
there
them about the
on May
same thing,
13th. Yeah.
and then they
That's
were
a 3
here
minute
for
time.
it.
Okay,
and I
could
thought
you
it was
please
like
clear
a
the
perfect
room over there so we can proceed?
conversation. And so even though I didn't say anything of
I know,
pertinence,
yeah,
I said,
don't
okay.
know.
So I lucked out because they were here. We were here till
Well,
3 a.m.
I just
Relatively
Oh,
speaking.
my goodness gracious.
From midnight to 3 a.m.
Oh, my goodness.
From noon to 3 a.m.
But we'll ask you to clear the room, please, if you're not going to speak.
Oh, gosh.
Gotta love it when the news crews here.
Well, the room looks quite different now.
Doesn't it? Wow.
Okay. Mark it on your calendar, May 11th.
May 11th.
May 11th will be a fun day.
May 11th will be a fun day. Yeah.
I won't be here May 11th.
May Day, May Day.
Just so you know. Because I have brothers class.
All right.
Okay,
Jillian
next.
disappeared.
Wow.
She's
Where
there.
is she? Gentlemen, are you going to be a part of this, or I'll close this hearing?
So what do we have next? Well, actually, Jillian.
You're not going to speak?
No, I think she's got other. Right. I think she has other issues.
Okay.
I think there's other things to be.
Well, yeah, we have other business, but
Okay.
all right. All right.
Are we ready for the next one?
Sure.
This hearing is continued until May 11th, where we will all reappear.
Okay. Now
Except
we'll
for
do
me.
these issues.
I won't be here.
Moving right along.
Our next application is from Alan McGuinn. He has applied in the name of Christ School for a conditional use permit to site an addition to the Mebane Science Building on tax lot pin 9664127537 500 Christ School Road. The conditional use permits are for the use of a private school, as the school itself is an existing non-conforming use, and for a planned unit development, as the proposed addition to the science building will increase the square footage of the building to over 35,000 square feet. The property in question is zoned R1, R3, and EMP. The conditional use permit for the planned unit development would not be valid on the portion of the property zoned R1. The conditional use permit for the private school would not be valid on the portion of the property zoned EMP. The main campus of the school is located in the portion of the property zoned R3. The portions of the property zoned R1 and EMP are open space that contain passive recreation. The project requires less than an acre of grading, so it would not require a stormwater or erosion control permit. There are no changes to the internal road, so the fire marshal has looked at the plans and approved them. And there are no changes to water or sewer service at the property.
Okay, all the relevant services have agreed. All right. The floor is yours. What's your name, sir?
Good afternoon. My name is Alan McGuinn. I'm with the CJMW Architecture, and I'm here representing Price School for this project. Jillian said she answered, or explained most of it, that school is adding an 8,000 square foot addition to the existing Mavane Science Wing, which is part of the larger education building out at Price School. If you know Price School, the campus is 110 years old. They've been here since 1900. They have roughly 500 acres of campus, of which less than a third is the campus proper. The campus is actually for 250 male students of selected for their high academic achievement. And with that, that's why they wanted to do this science wing addition. The college preparatory school, they wanted to bring up the science wing in terms of what it had to offer, so we're looking at laboratory classrooms within that wing. As I said, it's an 8,000 square foot addition. It's on the back of the existing building. I think you can see that in the site plans in the package as well. So it's not even actually seen from the front of the building, and it's not seen from any of the neighboring properties. There are over 800 feet. It's more than 800 feet of wooded block all the way around the campus, so the neighbors can't really see this addition. With the 8,000 square foot addition, there's about 4,000 square feet of renovation within the existing building. So as Jillian said, it's in the R3 portion. Really, the main campus is in the R3 portion, which is conditional use. The employment district, it would be allowed, is my understanding. So really, we've submitted the plans. They've been approved through inspection, so we're ready to go if there is an approval for this conditional use to add the building, the education building. Are there any questions I can answer?
So the addition is
the best
specifically.
That is it. That's one of the best. That's the addition on the back of the school.
That's the one and only thing we're talking about.
That colored area is the addition.
And the only purpose it'll have is as a classroom, right?
It actually has 3 classrooms in it, yes.
3 classrooms. So therefore, it doesn't need any additions in terms of like parking or anything like those lines.
And we have more than adequate parking based on the ordinance right now.
Right.
59 spaces required, we have 168, so.
And you can't see any, are there any ways that you can foresee it impacting the area? Is it going to generate more waste? Is it going to generate problems in terms of water runoff or anything along those lines?
No, in fact, it's less, we're putting it, existing site less than a third of an acre, so it's really not going to have a major impact. And in fact, we're replacing some hard surface paving with the building, so really when you look at runoff, it's going to be equal to about the same. There is an outdoor classroom that would be right beside the building as well.
Okay.
But that's a big area.
Alan, there's no height restrictions involved in this.
We're within the height restriction.
Are you?
Yeah.
Has there been any feedback, Jillian?
No, there's been no comment from the public.
All right, any other questions? No. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against that project? All right. At this time, I shall close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask my
Yes.
question?
Remember-
Mr. McGuinn?
Yes, sir.
I believe you signed this application for the conditional use permit. I just want to ask you if the information contained on that form is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge.
To the best of my knowledge.
All right.
I move that we grant the application. Based on the evidence presented to this board, include the following exhibits: the petitioner's application, the submitted development plan, GIS maps, and the finding of facts worksheet. I move that this board adopt the following findings of facts, A through 7, that this application does meet the requirements for granting a conditional use permit for PUD for the reasons A through V.
Actually, there's more than that.
A through.
8A.
A through X, I
X.
think.
X
Did
through.
last time, A through the X.
Okay.
Please, motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to accept the findings of fact. All in favor?
Aye.
Let the minutes show that it was unanimous vote.
Now I have to do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, the motion I make a motion that we approve this conditional use permit based upon the foregoing findings of fact, and for the reasons set forth therein, I move that the requested variance be approved.
Is there-
Second the motion.
There's been a motion and a second to approve this project. All in favor?
Aye.
Procedural question.
Sure.
We actually read or did for the CUP. Do we need a separate rollout for the variance? Can we batch them together?
There is no variance. It's two conditional use permits.
Okay, okay. Well, then do we need a separate?
Perhaps if we just, if you weren't clear, and I'm sorry if I didn't hear, but if you just make sure that you're clear in your motion and second and your vote, that you're voting on both, then I think you're in good shape.
Okay.
Just procedural.
Right.
All right, can the minutes show that that is for both? Just put a statement in there. Is everyone agree to that?
Yes.
All right, fine. That makes it patently clear, so that there's ever a question.
Okay.
All right.
Next.
Go ye and build.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
More?
One more.
Our next application is from King Land Development LLC. They have applied for a variance from the dimensional requirements of the zoning ordinance to site 39 single-family homes on tax lot pin 9678487258 at the intersection of Teams Lane and US 70 Highway. The site was approved as a major subdivision in 2007 prior to enactment of the first zoning ordinance. The lot sizes themselves do not meet the minimum lot size requirement for the R2 zoning district. It was originally approved for 40 lots. It has been taken over by Mr. King from the first developer who went bankrupt. The property is zoned R2, and the applicant is requesting the front and rear yard setbacks be reduced to 10 feet and the side yard setbacks be reduced to 5 feet.
Wow.
And Buncombe County has provided Mr. King with a workforce housing loan for the development of the site and the houses. The stormwater plans have been approved, but the stormwater administrator still needs a verification from the engineer regarding the underground chambers, and needs Mr. King to execute an operations and maintenance agreement on the site. They have a valid erosion control permit, and the site is in compliance. The fire marshal has approved the roads, but will revisit the site when the roads are paved.
All right. Your name, please?
It's Matt King.
Okay, Matt King. Matt, were you sworn in with the first group?
Yes, I was.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that.
I was kind of.
I saw some people come in over there later, and I just... All right, tell us what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Okay, actually, I spoke with Jillian. We'd like to make a request, a change to our request, and I know it might seem odd. I need to request my front setbacks go back to 0 feet. Now, I don't think I'd ever actually be 0 lot lines on the front. I have seen subdivisions in the county where the houses are right on the front. I have 12 lots on the left-hand side of the property. When I bought the property, like I said, it was a foreclosure property, the roads were in, and I looked at the plat that I thought was the approved plat when it went through in 2007, and it showed no lot lines. And so I took my house plans that I build, and I looked at the lots, and they would fit in there. Since I actually applied for the variance, I found out there's more of a setback on the back left that I can't control because there's what's now classified as a stream. And so I've got 12 lots that I won't be able to build on unless I change it to the zero lot lines. The sides, these lots are average, let's just say 50-foot wide lots, and if we have 10-foot side setbacks, then that leaves me a 30-foot center section, and the house will have to sit exactly in the center. And my single-family homes, or the one-story homes, are like 32 feet wide. So the plans that I was approved for the workforce housing grant, or not grant, loan, won't even fit on these lots. Again, if I were starting this from scratch, I wouldn't have designed it this way. But I came in and I bought it was a foreclosure subdivision that had been approved previous to the zoning issues, and so now I'm just trying to make it work. We've just finished putting in all the water and sewer. We're just getting ready to get all that certified, and then they came out. The surveyor came out and said, "Okay, you're going to have to sit back further than what you were originally planning on from the rear of the property line."
Are sewer lines and water lines and that sort of thing in?
Everything's in, and the road is paved as of yesterday afternoon.
Stormwater in?
Yes, that was actually in before I purchased the property. I just have to get it certified. They've got to come out and look at it, and it was already installed and certified, but I guess there was some concern that between the time that it was foreclosed on and when I bought it, some sediment got in there, and so we've got to get it certified.
Has it been removed?
Yes.
Of course, there is the option of replotting it.
All the water and sewer lines are all in, and I got the money from the county to put those in, and
What was the original fault? Was it that the plat was drawn incorrectly? Or?
No. Originally, there's no zoning, and so they could build these houses and not have any issue.
With no spaces.
There were no setbacks
no space in
before.
between.
This plan was approved prior to the first zoning ordinance being approved for the subdivision.
And there will be space between the houses, but
Okay,
the
how
way
much,
it is,
when said and done, how many feet between the houses?
the absolute minimum between the houses on a worst-case scenario is going to be 10 feet because I'm requesting 5 feet side by side.
So just to clarify, you're requesting 5-foot side setbacks, 0 feet on the front, and then
10 feet in the rear.
10 feet in the rear.
Yes. In normal, the way I like to build the houses is there would never be 5 feet on either side. There's just a couple of lots where I have to have the houses side by side. Normally, if it's 5 feet, I'm going to have that house, all the way up on the one side, and so there'll be, 15 to 20 feet, well, more than that, between the houses. So 20 feet should be good.
Are you asking for a 0 setback on all the lots, or
On the front.
just the 12?
I was told I have to request it on all of the lots.
Can he not request just a
On
partial?
specific lots?
I mean, the reason
Because you're-
seems to be the string.
Correct. And I won't build. I have to request according to a 0 setback, but the other lots I won't be building at the front, and I want to build 10 feet back.
So we could put a setback on that.
Yes.
Just to make a comment, the reason that he has to request 0 feet for all of them is because the property hasn't been subdivided yet. So it's just one PIN number now.
So these lots, even though this has been approved previously, it's never been subdivided?
It's
this
never
way?
been platted.
So this doesn't really, okay.
They wouldn't be allowed to plat the subdivision until all the infrastructure is complete. The roads are in. We get a certification from an engineer stating the roads were built to county standard, and then at that point we would allow them to record the final plat.
And we just finished paving yesterday afternoon ahead of the rain. So I'm at that point now where I'm ready to, after today's meeting, I will call the engineer back up. They will put the required setbacks on the plat, and then we will bring that along with the other required letters.
And also a note for the board, building code requires them to be 3 feet from any property line. So he would be required by building code to be 3 feet from that front property line.
And the county looks at setbacks, they consider any part of the building.
Yes.
Yes.
And the road, we're already, it's not like the road is the property line. You know, there is the setback, because you've got the 45-foot right-of-way, and then the road is roughly in the middle of that 45-foot right-of-way.
So you do have a 45-foot right-of-way?
Yes.
And you won't build within the right-of-way?
No.
So
We'll
your
be
setback
set
start
back
will
at a
be
minimum
from
of
the
3
right-of-way?
feet back of that. Right.
But some these houses are very close together. You can reach out your window, you can shake your neighbor's hand if he reaches out his.
He's got 5-foot arms, and he
Oh.
has 5-foot arms, yes, sir.
How many houses are we talking about?
39 new homes constructed.
On how many acres?
6.
6
It is a tight subdivision. Like I said, I bought it this way. It was a foreclosure. We're doing workforce housing. These homes will be priced between $150 and $220, and we're just trying to build an affordable home. I couldn't meet those requirements if I were to have to go back and redo the sewer and the water, obviously. And,
Question, which lots are being impacted by the stream?
lots 1 through 12.
So this whole line here?
Yes.
So just the left-hand side of the drawing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why we can't put a restriction on those 12 lots because of the stream.
So I like where David's going. I trust you, and I like this project, but I think it would be ideal if we could approve a block that has what he wants, the block that he has what he wants. But to write a blank check for the item.
Zero
is
setback
not
for
good
a whole
policy.
site.
It's a bad precedent.
Yeah, there's no sense fixing the lots
Well, I think
on the east
I mean,
because of
your-
the stream on the west.
Your surveying knowledge, I mean, might help with that as to how to fashion a motion or whatnot. But just to clean this up first, I mean, Mr. King has asked to amend his application.
Right.
So I think, in fairness, that you can consider and open the door for debate first. I think you need to go ahead and formally accept the amendment and waive any notice provisions and proceed on his amended application as stated here.
Right, because he's applying for something different than we've been
So
handed.
do the amendment first, then get back into
Yeah,
this.
let's accept it
All right.
as amended.
I propose that we accept the amendment that Matt King has requested. I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept Mr. King's proposal that was initially stated in the meeting. Have you got the minutes?
Amended
Amended.
setbacks
We're-
His
of,
amended setback.
We're allowing
Amended
him
sec-
to
Can we-
amend his
yeah.
application.
right,
Can we
That's what we're moving on.
go over that one more time, what we're voting on?
yeah, and his,
What are we doing?
For 0 front, 5-foot side, and 10-foot rear.
Okay.
0. Okay.
That's all the language reads. That's just the amendment. We're not talking about lots yet.
No, sir.
Right.
We're we're moving to accept his amended application.
Right.
That's all we're
It's
doing.
amended without re-advertising or anything. We can do that, right?
Just accepting the application.
Yeah.
An
But
amended.
And the amendment.
Amended, it's different
Amended
now.
But we're also accepting
No, we're not.
0.
No.
Well, is that not mentioned?
well, Jim's
No.
bringing up a good point, because if there's been any publication of this, or any knowledge put forward,
When we advertise for a variance, we don't advertise the specific
Specifics?
variance.
Okay.
And we have not talked to anyone from the public regarding this. There was no comments from the public regarding
Okay.
this case.
Okay.
Wait a minute, then let me see that the sequence then is that the motion simply acknowledges
what we're talking
what
about.
we're talking about, that we accept it onto the table.
Yes.
Then we're gonna have a discussion.
Discussion about it,
Correct.
yes.
Right. We're about to vote on accepting his proposal.
His amended,
No,
no,
his
we're
amendment. We're-
voting on
Yeah, yeah,
allowing
my
him to
mistake.
amend
His
the
amended-
application.
His amended
without
application.
additional notice.
Right.
His amendment, okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor? say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion's carried.
So now we know what we're
all right.
talking about.
Now your amendment is in the mix here.
Okay, so now let's talk about,
Now you need to convince us that that's the way it needs to be.
Yes, ma'am. And I don't know how you could set it up to where it was just those 12 lots. On the other ones, I'd probably, in my other subdivision I have in West Asheville, the lines are all straight, and so I've built the houses all straight, and these, it's not exactly a straight line, so I'm not worried about. The only lots I'm concerned with the zero setbacks are the left-hand side.
But is there not a way to state that we approve a zero setback on lots 1 through 12 only?
Well, it's not platted yet. I think, one thing we were just talking about over here.
Okay, because
could
this
do-
plat's not been, this doesn't even really exist.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
a preliminary approved plan, so.
So we could state lots
Not
1 through
pinned.
12 as indicated on the preliminary approved plan?
I think you could. That's essentially what you're asking for.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking
Yeah.
for.
I mean, we could state it that way and give the zero setback only on those lots.
Because that's the intent of the request, yes.
so we could state it 0 through 12 as on there along the stream, so that also
As
says
indicated on the
specifically what we're talking about.
Yeah, on the pre-approved plat,
Okay.
it's,
Well, this is a Buncombe County has this plat
Right.
in their records as a preliminary plat, and we could state lots 1 through 12 as shown on this preliminary approved plat dated.
Good.
That way, we limit the zero setback to just those lots.
Right.
Okay, do you want to so move that?
I got a question.
Well,
Yeah,
we
it's
need
questions
to
first.
hear the rest
Well,
of it, so.
What is the stream setback on that? Do you know?
you'll see me for that in a couple of weeks, I'm guessing. I was told it's 30 feet.
It is 30 feet.
Yes, we're still arguing over whether it's really a stream or not.
Have you had environment, have you had them
Not
come
yet.
look at it?
No.
I've got news for you on that. It'll be extremely unusual if you beat them on 30 feet.
Okay.
I've
Well,
gone through this.
it has to be either jurisdictional or a non-jurisdictional stream. If it is a non-jurisdictional stream, the 30 feet doesn't apply unless he's already submitted grading plans indicating the 30-foot setback in the county.
And nothing I ever saw showed that that was a stream. And so when I bought the property, I believed that that was a,
And it may not have been a stream because we were in
You're
years of a
right.
drought,
That's true.
and it may not have shown. So,
Does it have water in it?
now it has a stream. But they just, well, not a stream, there's a, what do you call?
Spring?
Spring. They just timbered.
Natural spring there?
When I bought the property last year, for the first 8 months, there was no water at all that flowed through there unless it rained.
Oh, okay.
And then last year, they timbered the adjoining property, and now there's a small stream, or spring.
Okay.
so there's water in it now.
Correct.
So the 30 feet will depend on whether or not they state that it's a jurisdictional waterway, that it's a stream. And
Now-
if they say it's non-jurisdictional, then there is no 30-foot setback.
And I spoke with Mr. Goodson on that, and I guess there are 3 books that they have to look at,
Yeah.
and 2 of the books, it doesn't show up at all. And the 3rd book is very vague, and he's not certain, because it doesn't, like the roads aren't in there or whatever. So we've got to go over that and see. I'm assuming that when they, came up with this plat in the first place, surely they reviewed this, because it'd be hard to build with a stream there.
How many feet are you going to end up with from a stream? And by the way, the definition of stream edge it's a tricky one. But
It's really tricky.
It's very tricky. All of this is very, very new science, and it's an evolving science.
Right.
How many feet from what you perceive to be the stream edge?
To be honest with you, I'm not certain, because it varies on every
Well,
single
they'll go
one.
from top of bank at highest water.
Right.
In other words, we're saying we really don't know what we're
We don't
doing
know how
here.
big
We
the
have no
stream's gonna
idea.
be.
So
I'm comfortable
is there a need for us to be this
with
blind?
that motion, though, because
What?
So is
we're
there
not
a need for
writing
us
a
to be this
blank
blind
check.
about
But
everything?
I like the project, and I think that it has merit for
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah, okay. And you're comfortable with the amount of variabilities and the blindness to it?
Considering how this project, this man, and this county have evolved through the economic situation we're in, this is not totally unusual.
No. I think it's good that some of these subdivisions that are lying around out there are getting picked up by people like Mr. King and making a go of it.
And the nice thing is that we're doing affordable housing, or,
Yeah.
and not trying to build the big houses that we don't really need anymore, is my opinion.
What square footage are these?
The smallest one would be 1,000 to 1,600. In their arts and crafts style. Got a little subdivision in West Asheville called Estelle Park. If you drove through there, you can see the same type of houses.
Well, I see the need and the desire for doing this, but I'm very uncomfortable with that tightness on those left-hand lots.
Well, even with a 0 setback, if they come in and put in a large stream buffer, he's looking at those lots not being buildable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're just borderline right here, depending on what they come with that definition of stream, waterway. So for one, I'm very uncomfortable with it.
Feet back from the edge of the right of way on that side, at least.
Is he sort of hung with this map? I mean, can it be adjusted in any way? I mean, if you keep it, you can't go back to the planning board with this.
No,
You
all
can't
water and
change
sewer
it.
is in, everything's in.
Yeah.
When I bought this, the road was already existing.
Yeah, that's
There was
true.
already a road that was there.
About all you can do is recombine some of these lots if you
Well,
have
they
to.
haven't been officially subdivided yet.
But it's,
He can recombine and make them larger, make
He
them
could
more
recombine 1 through
conforming.
12 into bigger lots.
Yes, that
that
wouldn't.
won't help his setback.
No,
No,
that wouldn't require him to go back before the planning board for another approval. That wouldn't be a
Would or would
major
not?
change. Would
Would
not.
be a minor change.
Yes, it would be a minor change, and it could be improved internally by the planning
I
department.
guess that's what I was saying. I mean, the only thing he can do without going back to the planning board is recombine lots.
Correct.
Okay, well, the flow went, previous developer was operating with no zoning requirements on his design.
Correct.
So he designed whatever he did, and it's here.
And the county preliminarily approved
Got
it.
a preliminary approval on it because there was no zoning requirements for them to operate from. This came up. He spent some time and money putting in pretty much the existing road network, probably dirt at the time.
Actually, the road was existing,
Oh, it was.
but if the road was in and the storm sewers were in, we come in and put in the water and sewer, and when we put the sewer in, the road got torn up. So that's why I have to go back and get it recertified, because they just repaved the road. So we had to pull up the road that was there already and repave it.
Have you stubbed up sewer and water
Everything's
to
in.
all these lots?
Yes. Water and sewer's in, and they, Progress Energy will be starting Monday, putting in the power to the.
Underground?
Yes.
Well, actually, I'm not, I'd have to be out there and talk, we'd have to have some more talk on it. It'd be more complex, but it looks to me like it's built about the way he wants to, or not build at all on that row.
On the left,
Yeah,
yeah.
he doesn't have much choice.
It's either no build or the setback that he's asking for.
No, you can recast the lots.
That won't help the
It
setback.
won't help it.
Won't help the setbacks, but the distance between the buildings, you can sure help.
Now,
Remember my argument about shaking hands with your neighbor?
Well, it'd be
No, I-
10 feet between the buildings.
Yeah.
I'm not,
10
But
feet.
you know, when people go in there and look at this, they'll see what they're buying. And a lot of
they
people
make-
want that.
They do like, some people do like cottage builds.
Right.
And the county's pitching into that process.
And if you get houses that are from here to the door over there apart, then you're gonna pay $50,000 more for it.
right.
And this is.
And these
very
people can't
affordable.
afford them.
And, a lot of the retirement-type communities, the houses are very, very close together, less than 10 feet.
They don't wanna mow the grass.
They don't, and they like that tight, close feeling.
Careful about retirement communities. I
I'm
live in-
sorry.
Was that like, I resemble that?
I resemble that remark,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, I'm uncomfortable with that, folks. I'm glad the left-hand part, the other part, that's fine, because the reason ordinances are developed is so you do things properly. And I think this board is, in the past, has gone, almost bent over backwards sometimes to
Very flexible.
accommodate that, but,
Well, What about the left side you're uncomfortable with, that's different from the others, though?
Well, the others they basically meet the setbacks, right?
There's two issues. It's side-to-side setbacks and the front setbacks.
But the others meet the front setback.
The front setbacks,
Yeah.
right. But the side to side is what you see.
Well, we're reducing the front already from 20 to 10. That was in his original application.
And the only thing we would be changing is the 0 on those 12 lots, is that correct?
Correct.
We're not
From
changing
his
the side
original
setback.
application.
From my original application, right. From what the county requires now, we've
Right.
got a request to change on everything.
Right,
Everything.
but the side setback on 1 through 12 will be the same as
Yes,
the others.
it is on the rest of the lots, correct.
So they'll all be the same
They're all the
distance
same
apart.
side setbacks.
So when you took this over from foreclosure,
Yes.
was the infrastructure that's already in?
The roads were there,
The roads were there?
correct.
You paid for the water and sewer?
Water and sewer
Well,
was
actually, the
done?
county paid for the water and sewer, but yes.
Okay.
Well, I
Well, you
paid
have to
for
pay
it,
them
they gave me
back.
a loan, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And when the person was in foreclosure, this was basically the plan they had, or you?
This is their plan.
This
In
is
fact,
their
I
plan.
didn't change a thing. If I would have done that, I would have had to go back through the whole
Right.
process, and this would have never qualified for.
Well,
I'm actually, this is a heartbeat out of time. Where we are normally involved in this process is much closer from the inception. We're
Right.
somewhere in there, we get, and we would not approve this. No, generally not. If it were in the now timeframe,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
with the flow that we come in at,
I wouldn't design it.
wouldn't even get this far.
No, it wouldn't
Okay.
even be here.
But this is here for reasons that have nothing to do with any skullduggery or thievery. It's a flow of economic cycle. I don't even know this man, but this will happen again here, probably on the foreclosure. It'll be dropped on our table, and it will be out of sequence, because it connects to it the time of no zoning. Something will be back on our table.
I don't understand why the water and sewer were put into these lots prior to approval for.
Because they
building
won't
them.
approve it. That's what Jillian was saying. They will not finalize the subdivision without the water and sewer and roads being in and passing inspection. That's what she was saying.
Well, there's a sequence there too, is that if you had to change the road structure, that wouldn't work for the loan profile, the budget of the construction at all. The roads that were there were the pattern for the sewer and the water. And it didn't have to be, but if you changed the road structure, then you're getting into a whole another bunch of permits for grading, slope aspects. It starts another cycle of loan applications and permits, and it would be a nightmare.
I couldn't have afforded to do that. There's no way I could have afforded to have started this process. Banks aren't loaning any money for new developments now. And so this one up is already, everything was approved, all the permits were approved for every step of the way with the water and the sewer and everything. The storm structure was already in the stormwater structure. So the only way, if I would have wanted to make any changes, I would have had to redesign everything. And this project I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today because I'd never gotten the money for it.
Where did you get the money?
The county.
You got a loan from
I got
Buncombe
the loan
County.
from Buncombe County to put in the water and sewer to make this.
So Buncombe County sees the good in this.
Yes.
You got the
I
first
have-
draw.
I have the details of the money from workforce housing if you guys want to hear.
Sure.
It's a workforce housing loan. It can be used for the development process or the houses. It's Mr. King's choice. The people that buy the homes have to make between 80% and 140% of the median income of the county. It was $192,000. The houses have to be 2 to 3 bedrooms. they have to sell from $150,000 to $220,000, and it gets paid back to the county when the houses sell or at the end of a five-year period, whichever happens first.
So one question off that last thing of it has to be sold between 150 and 220,000. Does that change with the value of money? I mean, if we go into economic deflation, or if we go into an inflation, does that affect that at all?
I'm not sure. I don't know that much about this program.
Yeah.
And maybe John or Lee can answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, no. I mean, you know, those figures are compiled on a yearly basis.
Right. And that would be adjusted.
We've pretty much made the deal.
Okay. Okay.
Once his deal's set, his can be changed.
I believe that I can sell them for less than 150,000. Is that not correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So.
you
Oh,
can.
okay.
Yeah.
He can.
Our theaters are required to sell them for.
Okay.
Okay.
So if we go into a deflation, there.
Intent
In order to
is as the
qualify for
developer.
the
I mean,
loan, it
fair
has to
enough
be
that you would sell them for the most
I
that you can, but if it comes to pass that the median, I mean, an affordable point is 139,000, and you could make even $1, you do, it's the marketplace is what you're saying.
Right. Okay.
I think that the number to look at is the top end of that is we're not going to go over the 220.
Yeah.
Back to the,
And half the houses have
to
sold
the
for
12 lots, when we go through and turn the crank and the administration comes back and says this stream is really a stream, and you end up and you can't build with those, what are you gonna do?
If we have the 0 lot lines, I can build.
Even with a 30-foot setback
Yes.
from the street
It
bank?
just would be a small home. That I can make a house, like I said, it'd probably be below 150, but it would be a small, you know, maybe like a 900 square foot, 1-bedroom home or something like that. But, you know, that's another
But
ball.
in any case, you believe those are going to be buildable?
Yes.
Given the zero
Given
setback.
the zero
I believe
setback.
that, yes.
And, you know, the more I'm thinking about this, I'm just looking at a level of, you know, kind of a hardship. I mean, he's not in the position he's to buy anything that he's done.
Say that again.
Oh, sure
He's
he
not-
is. Sure he is.
Oh.
He went in and he, that's a gamble, right? That's
It's
a
already been,
businessman-
but it's already been
businessman's
platted,
gamble.
it's already been, you know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
there. He inherited it, the infrastructure was already to some degree. He had to put the rest of the infrastructure in order to be able to proceed further. So it wasn't like he did any winging it. He didn't impromptu, he didn't do anything along those lines.
And it just, he essentially, yes, stepped into the shoes of the prior owner.
Right.
And at this point, several months ago, Mr. King presented to the Board of Commissioners, they approved this concept as an
Yeah.
opportunity to fulfill one of their initiatives, which is workforce housing.
Okay.
And this is that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, I feel this board has great latitude in its decision-making.
It does.
In what it could implement. Technically, I would not support this at all, because I think it's way outside the rules. However, given the circumstances of how it came about, and I sense your intent to do the right thing, I believe I can support moving ahead with this. I mean, with that discussion, I, as they say, kind of hold my nose when I do that, because this is well outside of what it should be with the present codes we have.
Right.
But given the circumstances and the latitude we have to operate, but that's only me speaking, I don't know how my fellow board members.
That's well said.
Because I believe, as the chairman of the board, our intent is to do the right thing at the end of the day. You know, at the end of the day, even though we have to cut a corner, as they say. So I think your mind is in the right place, and you're willing to adhere to the codes, you know, as they come up now. If it requires smaller houses, so be it.
Matt, so how much money did you get?
192,000.
That's just for the water sewer?
Yes.
How much money are you going to get? What's the loan, what's the construction loan?
No, that's it. That's all I get from the county.
All you get?
Wow.
That's all I get. Now, where are you gonna get the money to put the structures in?
I have pre-approval from Southern Community Bank for my loans on the homes. And they actually loaned me the money to buy the property. I had put 25% down, but they loaned me the money to purchase the property. and then the county will need money to do the insurance.
So, county forwarded the $192,000, which presumably paid for all, whatever all it was. And that will be paid back, how is that, a?
Roughly $5,000 for every time I sell a home, when I have the closing on it, roughly.
That's first dollar?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
First dollar?
First dollar.
In other words, that 5,000 is first dollar on the sale.
Yes, yes. And then first dollars, they get paid first.
That's what I meant.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. Yeah, it's a recorded,
I was thinking the same thing.
not a lien, I don't know about the wording on that. But at the closing, the $5,000 immediately goes, from my closing attorney's office, a check.
I take off my chairman's hat now and put on my citizen's hat. So I think we should be some thought of protecting the county's $192,000 investment here, right?
I was hoping you'd feel that way.
Which will go away if we, so now I put my chairman's hat back on. So, any further discussion here?
No.
Questions? Would someone like to?
Well, we got to
Yeah.
close it. He has to ask
He
his
has to
question.
ask his favorite question.
I thought we got to close it.
You ought to put that right in the scheme, we can do that.
There you go.
Two things. Well, Jillian has a draft findings of fact if you want to do 1 through 12, as Lisa was indicating.
Yes.
And second, let me ask Mr. King if the information contained on your application is true and correct.
Yes, sir.
But it's been amended, you know.
And to,
That's what
as
she's
amended.
bringing.
Okay.
She's bringing us as amended.
Remind the chair to close the public portion of our hearing.
Seems there's no one else here to speak. I will close the public portion of this hearing.
Okay. Who wants to try to word it?
I think she's going
She's going to try it?
It's provided. I think I got it.
Okay, Lisa, the floor is
It's
yours.
mine? Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the findings of facts based on the evidence presented to this board, including the following exhibits: the petitioner's application as amended, the submitted development plan, the GIS maps, and the finding of facts worksheet. I move that the board adopt the following findings of facts, 1 through 2, for lots 1 through 12 on the submitted development plan as preliminary approved by Buncombe County. That would include a front setback of 0 on lots 1 through 12, a side setback of 5, and a rear setback of 10. Also, did I do separate motions, Jillian?
Just keep rolling.
I can keep rolling, okay. I also motion that the following findings of fact, to adopt the following findings of fact 1 through 5 on the remaining lots, and 6,
Well,
A through G also on the remaining lots of the subdivision.
Okay, does that cover it?
Does that cover it?
Yeah, that's it.
Did you get 6A for 1 through 12 as well, or did you stop there?
I did stop. Okay, sorry. And the motion to adopt the findings of facts 3 through 6A, G on A through G on lots 1 through 12 as well.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
There's a second. Did you ask your question? I was.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
We can
there's
do it.
been a motion and a second to approve the findings. All in favor?
Aye.
Let the minutes show that was unanimous vote.
Okay, do the actual.
Now we need to accept the proposal. You want to make that?
Yes. I would like to make a motion that the variance be granted as requested and amended.
Is there a second? Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the variance as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, again, let the minutes show that there's unanimous vote. Sorry to put you through it, sir, but
Sorry.
this was one of the tougher ones.
You know, I've got a point here that touches with Jillian, and it has to do with that first episode. The crowd, thank you, Matt. The crowd filed out in a kind of a normal unorganized fashion with only the one person there, the attorney. I don't know if they hooked up or wanted to or whatever, but would it be proper for an email? You've got, basically, the people emailed in their complaint, did they not? Would it be possible that you could include in an email group that attorney who said he would spearhead the community communications?
Forward those communications onto that attorney?
Thank you, Mr. King.
Yeah, so that they could at least have, because in as we discussed, we have been very effective when we had a tie-in communication link
Right.
with the neighbors and whoever the builder generally is.
I can forward those emails onto that attorney.
And the thought is that, could we, is it proper for the county to allow them to assemble here at some time between now and May?
But George, I strongly
That's their
disagree with that.
problem.
We're stepping out of our judicial role here and becoming an advocate for positions.
No.
We're an advocate for the communication process to happen.
That's all. They have no place to, I don't think that's a big development out there. They don't have a community
We
room
shouldn't
or
touch
anything.
that.
Really?
We shouldn't touch that.
They can find the place.
I don't know that we facilitate it, but if one of them asks for help as to where they could meet,
Yeah.
they need to-
Oh, that's a whole other question. If they come in and say, may we use your room, that's a whole, but for us as a board to go and say, we would like you to do this, we're way out of our purview, in my view.
Skyland Fire Department is generally.
Well, they're Mills Gap Road, right?
Yeah, that's not
Well,
our.
the reason I bring this up is that I believe that if they will do what was proposed here, that we'll have a very useful and productive meeting
Right.
in May. I think it'll work out. I don't know how it'll work out, but it'll flow through properly.
I think we should stay out of it.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's.
okay. But you will send that email group, Jillian? Will you communicate and consolidate that email group so they can find each other that way?
And is the May meeting going to be catered so that we can?
Because, but folks, you know, with all that said, the issue is not changed. There's some folks that don't want that tower there. That's what they were there. The issue has not changed.
Right.
Not at all.
What the attorney was saying was
Yeah,
that
community
his-
feeding,
the
I mean,
level of the issue.
there might be better understanding.
They,
and let-
well,
yeah.
and they may go with a shorter tower.
Yeah.
I have one behind my office that's only 60 foot tall.
Oh, really?
But, you know, but of course, the argument is the taller the tower, the less tower.
Yeah, that's, I mean.
That is true.
Yeah, see, that's the argument.
Well, we need to,
Hook a satellite.
we're discussing it out of session.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Sounds fine.
All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Oh, my.
Well, I thought this would be an exciting meeting,
Have to
but.
take all this paper?